Hey everybody, Jeremy here. So today I want to show you this new food composter from Airthereal, and this is the Airthereal Revive R800 5L. And then the 5L means that it can hold up to 5 liters of food waste. So this will be the size that you will be going for if you have, say, a family and you guys are producing a lot of food scraps, but you don't want to just scrape it all off into the garbage can, and you just want to have a more friendly way, an eco-friendly way in order to get rid of that food waste and just reduce your carbon footprint if you're into that kind of thing. That is what this is going to be best for. So check it out. This is the instruction manual that comes with it, but it's so simple to operate, you don't really even need it. I've been using it for a few weeks and it's pretty awesome. Now, straight up, right out of the box, you don't have to assemble hardly anything with the exception of some filters. So if you turn it over to the side, you'll see that there is a compartment right here that you can just pop open from the side, and then you can see the filter that comes with it right here with some activated carbon inside of it. So there will be some tape on here that you remove, and then you just sort of slot that in, and then you can just put this back cover back on it. And if you want to connect this to Wi-Fi, there's also an app called Airthereal that you can download for your phone or your tablet. And it'll basically just let you monitor the composting process of this. It'll let you monitor the filter health. And then once you start composting some things, it also tells you some information such as your carbon offset. It'll tell you what your carbon emissions were, your final carbon offset, and how much power consumption you went through in order to get there. And then it also tells you what the equivalent driving distance is for your lifetime carbon offset. So that's pretty interesting. And then you'll also get points for composting that you can then redeem for stuff from Airthereal. So that's pretty cool. Now, that's optional if you want to go that route. So this thing has a touchscreen, and that's great because it makes it easy to operate, but it's also easy to operate because there's not a whole lot of options here. So the first one is Eco Pre-Compost. That's just sort of like the default mode. It's going to help to save you some electricity when you run it, and it's going to take a little bit longer to finish because it's running at that lower energy rate. And then you got biocompost, and if you have some compost starter, you can add that into here, and then when you're finished composting, this is when you can take what you have and then like add it to a garden or something like that. Now, Ethereal does have a compost starter pack that you can buy, that you can use that to put inside of here. But if you want to go another route, you want to do something else, they also give you some guidance of some different parameters basically that you need to look out for the product that you are going to buy, so that you can use it in here as well. And then you have the self-clean mode. So that just makes cleaning easier for you. But the bucket, you can still take out and just wash it off in the sink if you want to do that. And then you have some settings. And the settings are just going to tell you what your Wi-Fi settings are, your filter health, as well as some statistics. And you see that my filter health is still pretty darn good at 92%. And then you can just go back to the main page, and that's just it. And on top of here, and this is what I really like about it, is that you've got this nice clear sight window on the top of the composter. And when you press this button right here, the lid goes up. Let's just give it a little bit more room. So it goes up like that, and then you have this bucket that's in here that I have already filled up with some stuff that I'm going to compost. It's got an arrow right there to tell you exactly where you need to put it, because it doesn't go in every way. You got to make sure that arrow is in the front, because there's like these grooves that it has to line up with. We see how it's kind of extended out and is bulging out from right here. So that just sort of slots down into a groove. You lay the handle down, then you can just close this up. And while it's running and while that heat is generating, that airflow is going to push through those filters. So you're not going to smell the composting process. It's not going to fill your house with the smells of like vinegar, what smells like vinegar when you're running it. So if you're interested in picking this up directly from Airthereal, the price is going to be $399. But as I record this on May the 19th, I saw there's also a coupon on their website that's going to knock the price down to $279. So that's quite a bit of savings there. I actually think that's a pretty good price for a kitchen composter of this size. So let's take a look at some of the things that I have composted in here. So the first things I decided to compost, and I really filled this up, was some watermelon scraps as well as some pineapple, because I juiced those together to make a really, really nice drink that's perfect for summer. And you know, pineapple skin can be pretty darn tough. And when I put everything in there and I filled it up and I let it do its thing, it ground those down, and in a handful of hours, the dirt consistency that came out of this was just really, really awesome. I thought I shot some footage of that, but turns out it's not there. But trust me, this went wonderfully. So here, I've got some more stuff in here. Now, you can only see like banana peels, but there's also like some chicken scraps and some other little bits and pieces down in there. So when it's open like that, that chicken is really starting to turn. So I'm going to go ahead and just process this now. It's plugged in and the screen will just activate as soon as you just tap it. So there's a few different modes here. I'm just going to do the eco pre-compost. If you want to do the bio compost, it's going to be best if you plan on using the results in like a garden or something like that. But since I'm not going to be doing that, I'm just going to do the eco pre-compost and start. And now that is done, we can see the carbon offset, the carbon emissions from electricity, the final carbon offset, and the power consumption for the amount of time that this was running. So I can just hit OK. And I have to empty the container. Here's what it looks like. This has a very dry and dirt-like consistency to it. Very fine. I like that. Want to make up for that pineapple and watermelon snafu. So let me just pause what I have going on here so I can show you basically what was filled up to the top. And this was just banana peels, orange peels, mango peels, eggshells, just like a whole combination of things that were filled up pretty much right to the top of this. And this has only been running for like less than an hour. And you see how much it's reduced? Like you can hear it. The sizzling from all of this. And we got some condensation on the lid there. So just a little confirmation that yes, you can pause it and you can continue it. And it really reduces your waste, and it does it pretty quickly. But of course, this still has a good ways to go. So now we can look at the results. There's the carbon offset, the emissions, the final offset, and the power consumption. I can just hit OK on this touchscreen, and let's take a look on the inside. Look at that. I mean, it's so dry. Like you can see a little bit of that was a mango peel still in there from the orange. And it's just so dry. And I can just take this right out of the bucket and put it in the garbage can. So from it was pretty much filled all the way up to the top, reduced to just this. So really, there's not a whole lot more to talk about with this kitchen composter because, you know, it's just very simple in what it does. It only does one thing, takes your food scraps and basically turns it into dirt that you can just pour into your garbage can. Or if you got some of that compost starter, you can mix that in with it and you can add it to a garden or something like that. And the things that you put in here, just in case you don't know, when you want to compost, you can't put like things like bones or like pits from peaches or mangoes, like hard things like that. You cannot put those in there. So just think of things that you as a human being could eat, even if you don't want to eat them, but you could, like eggshells, banana peels, orange peels, apple cores, things like that. No rocks, no hard stuff, and like no waste. Don't put like cardboard in here or plastic in here, things like that. Just food scraps, basically. And once you do that, you got to give it some hours to complete its job, but it reduces the amount of waste that you have in there by like 90%. So even though it can look like it's quite full when it starts, by the time it's done, it's just going to reduce down so low, and it's just going to leave behind a nice fine dirt like substance. And the texture and the feel of it, it can change depending on the type of food that you put in there. But it's easy to dispose of, easy to get rid of, and then this is easy to clean. Either put it on the self-cleaning mode or you can just wash it out yourself. Either way, it's going to get clean and it's easy to do. So that is going to do it for this video. And once again, the price on this, $3.99 normally, $2.79 right now on May 19th with a coupon that you'll find on Airthereal's website, which will be linked below. So that's it for now. Until next time, take care of yourselves, and I'll speak to you soon in the next video.